I love the Edge of Fate, and I think it's one of the best expansions in Destiny. Now, I know most people are in a rush, so let me summarize with a quick pros and cons list. Pros include a revitalized loot system, streamlined build crafting, customizable difficulty, consistent and clear rewards, improved ammo system, cool exotics, 30 plus new tiered legendary weapons, multiple new weapon archetypes, valuable gear sets and stats, varied and expanding portal system, huge destination with 4 distinct biomes, dozens of secrets and puzzles, 14 campaign missions, fleshed out and unique new characters, a new raid, and a great story setup for the new saga. Cons include side quests aren't that great. Now, I'm going to add in chapters so you can skip the sections if you'd like. I'm going to do my best to cover all these topics in some detail, and I'll be avoiding spoilers, so sit back, relax, and enjoy my review of the Edge of Fate. Edge of Fate exceeded my expectations in every way, and to me it feels like a truly new era of the game. Bungie's completely reworked everything around a more refined and focused vision which provides players a drastically more tailored and customizable playing experience. The system changes are all incredible, and on top of that, in my opinion, they also delivered a great campaign set on one of the best destinations in the game. So let's start where it all shines brightest, KEPLER. What I love the most about KEPLER is that you really get to engage with the destination itself. Set up in 4 independent areas with a hub in the middle, you branch off one at a time to complete that area's missions. As you do missions, you advance the story, get new world abilities, and explore for puzzles and secrets. For me, what stood out the most and what I enjoyed the most is it felt like I spent all of my time on KEPLER actually playing. There were very few spots where I either had to return to the hub or to stand still and watch a conversation, and they were usually only when I was moving on to the next area. Things kept moving, and it kept me on the planet, progressing between areas and encounters, so there was always something fun to do. That immediacy and gameplay first approach is a massive boon to the campaign experience, and I think is the driving force for all of the changes in Edge of Fate. Everything's been designed to have you actually playing as fast as you can while giving you the tools to customize what that playing experience will be like. If you want to take it easy and listen to the story, you can run it on Brave and relax. If you want to feel a sense of challenge, even when roaming, you can up the difficulty and match the world tier so something as simple as hunting for secrets can still lead you to fun, engaging combat encounters. The map's also really diverse, and it's well populated with enemies and encounters, especially on higher world tiers. Each area gets gradually larger and more complex as you unlock or upgrade your world abilities. While nothing crazy, I ended up really liking the world abilities, and I still do, since they had me actually interacting with the environment and requiring that I myself look around to either solve a puzzle or find a secret. I also think Matter Spark is awesome, feeling really fun and fluid. Now, whether or not you like the world abilities, what this does mean is there's no more long stretches of driving your Sparrow or pulling out your Ghost to tell you exactly what to do. You land in an area and you have to fight through it and think through it. This personally was one of my biggest hopes for the campaign, since I've always loved destinations, but most of them had a tendency to feel huge and sparsely populated. Things like terminal overloads or overthrows demanded most of the space, and things like lost sectors, patrols, and public events saturated the remaining space with filler. Final Shape got this right, and I think the Paleheart is awesome, but to me, KEPLER really is the next evolution. While the chance to explore a big and diverse destination with challenging encounters is all the motivation I need, the backbone for what makes it all work so well is the incredible tier system. The tier system is perfect. It finally shifts the game to rewarding effort and achievement over time sunk. Building on the foundations set by things like Adept and Holofoil weapons, tiered gear is a much more clear and structured system that provides weapons and armors with varying levels of quality based on how challenging they were to earn. By requiring that players both increase their seasonal power level as well as take on challenging foes, the tier system motivates those that want to expand their arsenal and improve their skills while rewarding them for doing so. Rewards are also very clear, defined by both your power level as well as difficulty. No matter what you're engaging in, the game tells you exactly what has a chance of dropping and at what tier. Similar to Adept weapons, the improvements are very small between tiers, but I feel they're tuned perfectly to entice striving for those higher tiers while not making them feel mandatory. Regardless of what loud people on the internet want to say, you do not need tier 5 gear to make an effective build, and certainly not to have fun. If you think getting 1 extra point in range or half a second faster cooldown on your origin trait will move the needle at all, you're missing the point, and you probably aren't the kind of player that needs it or could even perceive the difference in the first place. I soloed the whole Fabled World tier with a mixture of tier 1 and tier 2 gear, and trying out some mythic stuff, I can promise you tier 5 gear will not define whether or not you can do that level of content, your skill will. Like with Adepts, tier 5s are just cool, and I really like having something challenging to aim for, and personally, I'm okay if I never get a tier 5. There's simply something primarily cosmetic to reward the highest tier of players for overcoming the highest level of difficulty in the game, which I think is exactly how it should be. The other levels of rewards are all tuned really well, with difficulty feeling fair and, in my opinion, fun. I've been soloing minus 40 level portal content to test out modifiers, and I've genuinely been loving the challenge. I always feel properly rewarded afterwards with multiple drops for completion, as well as random drops throughout. I also really love that seasonal power is gained through loot drops and infusion, and that doing higher difficulty stuff will reward you with higher power level gear. What this means is you can pace yourself however you'd like when engaging with the tier system, where if you want missions to be fast and easy, you can do that and farm lower tier gear to gain levels, or you can play fewer, more challenging activities that are harder but provide greater rewards. You dictate exactly how you want to play and how you want to spend your time. Now, as much as I love the new loot system, it wouldn't mean much if you didn't have anything to do with the loot. So that brings us to the next topic of build crafting. Build crafting has been completely reworked, introducing an entirely new stat system, gear sets for armor, reworked mods, an update to perks, and much more. I love all of the changes they made and genuinely haven't found a single new thing that I didn't think was an improvement. The changes are so deep and so drastic, they've given me a chance to completely refresh or update all of my builds, and they've all turned out better for it. Everything's been streamlined to not only make build crafting more intuitive, but more specialized, letting you dive even further into a build idea than before. The biggest contributor to this is stats, which have been updated with more defined and beneficial effects, making them the center point of builds. Paired with gear sets and armor archetypes, it's far easier and quicker to put together an effective and synergistic build. Let's say you want to make a build that uses grenades and something like nothing manacles. You can prioritize Grenadier or Gunner armor to up your grenade stat, and it'll increase your grenade damage once you cross 100. Then, maybe you want to use Choir of One with it, so you're going to use a kinetic primary weapon. You can use the Tech Sec armor to improve kinetic shield damage, and at a full set, you can also disorient enemies, which is incredible. If you want to go further, you can get the KEPLER auto rifle with Demolitionist and Kinetic Tremors to synergize with both aspects of the build, and have a field day with kinetic explosions and grenades galore. Maybe you want to get funky and do some speed running. You can throw on a Mountaintop or the new GL and use the combo of the 2 set for the Ionian armor, which gives you a speed boost on a GL kill, and the 2 set for the Bushido armor, which heals you when killing an enemy with a recently loaded or readied weapon. Since GLs only have one shot, you can pull it out, blast an enemy, get healed and speed booster, and fly around rocket jumping and killing baddies. Those are just 2 basic examples of how armor sets and stats can bolster builds, and I'm so excited to see what other kinds of cool gear sets Bungie's going to add in the future, and what kind of fun builds I can make around them. Alongside that, the new and featured gear bonuses push you to build around fresh gear, and it keeps things rotating. I think the bonus amounts are tuned really well so they don't feel necessary, and you can run older gear if you want to, but for me, I really like having a clearly defined incentive to try out the new gear and change up my builds. With the featured exotics and seasonal artifact mods, every season will give you a good reason to pick up an old exotic you maybe haven't used in a while, or even a subclass you rarely get to run. With a fresh new era of build crafting, you need somewhere to run them, which is where the portal comes in. I'm a really big fan of the portal. Traditionally, seasons would consist of 1, maybe 2 activities being released that would drop the newest loot. You'd spend the remainder of the season playing that one thing over and over as you tried to get drops, and it would quickly begin to feel extremely repetitive, especially if the activity wasn't fun or challenging in the first place. What the portal does is it spreads that new loot over a wide variety of activities and gives players full control over the difficulty, modifiers, and conditions they'd like to play with. Split into 3 categories, you can immediately find something to play that will fit into your time frame and will provide the rewards you're interested in. Daily rotations of gear are guaranteed to drop the first time you complete certain activities, which motivates you to try different ones, and all you need to do is get a grade B or higher to get the drop. Afterwards, that gear has a higher drop chance for any subsequent runs of that activity. If you want to farm something for a day to get targeted loot, you can certainly do that, or if you'd rather a variety of things to do, you can go through multiple options and get random rolls. Missions can also have bonus drops on them, which will increase the number of rewards upon completion, and each activity will also show you exactly how many drops are guaranteed on all completions. I really appreciate how the portal is laid out. I think it's fantastic that everything about it functions from the menu, and it's all extremely clear and easy to navigate. There's no extra menu like the Tome, there's no vendor you need to load to in order to get upgrades, everything works from orbit. By far though, the most standout feature to me is the customizable difficulty. With a huge range of modifiers available, you can add in both negative and positive effects such as elemental threats or surges, or gameplay affecting mods like Banes or Counterfeit. Each negative modifier applied increases the power level of combatants, meaning you also get to choose how tough the enemies are you'll be fighting based on how many negative modifiers you apply. For me, I know I like working in that -30 to -40 range, so it's an absolute blast to get to throw on a bunch of modifiers so that enemies get to that level difference, and it'll turn something as easy as an Empire hunt into a fun and challenging experience. Modifiers also affect your score, which at the end of a mission will determine your rewards. For example, getting a B grade can mean you'll get a drop of the bonus reward plus your completion rewards, but at tier 1. If you get an A rank, that gear will bump up an extra power level when it drops, and it'll also shift to tier 2. As you level and move into higher difficulties within the portal, the tier level of your rewards will increase with you. Predicted score is also very clearly laid out, and different modifiers impact the score in different ways. Negative modifiers can increase enemy level by either 10 or 20 power, so you can keep enemies at level, or you can combine modifiers and crank up the difficulty to guarantee a high score. Something like equipment lock doesn't affect enemy level, but it does give a huge increase to score, rewarding players that prepare quality builds. Positive modifiers like surges decrease your potential score, but they add in fun gameplay elements with things like stunning emotes. This system means you get to choose exactly what you're walking into. Maybe you know you want to run a void build and there's a void surge available on the activity, so you know you can toss that on and dish out some extra damage. Maybe you want to try to speedrun an activity. You can reduce the amount of modifiers you have on and try to complete the mission before the bonus timer runs out so you can get your score to that A rank. Alternatively, if you don't want to worry about being on the clock, you can increase the difficulty to guarantee that you get enough score to earn an A rank regardless of how long it takes you. I think this is the perfect way to approach this. I know there's a lot of players out there that want their activities to be as quick as possible. For me, I'd prefer to play challenging activities that take me longer to complete and really test my skill in my builds. The score system means that both of these playstyles are completely viable ways to get an A score and earn quality gear. There's over 30 new tiered weapons they've added, most of which drop through the portal, which means you can enjoy a variety of things to play at a variety of difficulties, earning you a variety of gear. There's also multiple new archetypes, with the rocket-assisted pulse rifle, the heavy longbow, and a new hand cannon. There really is something here for everyone, both in terms of loot and in terms of activities to earn it. I could honestly talk about this expansion all day long. I really love it, and I think that everything Bungie has done is a total knock out of the park. I know people have different opinions, and there's certain sections of the game that are far more subjective, like story or even difficulty preferences, so I wanted this video to focus more on the objective improvements and the things that systematically have shifted the game into a better place. I hope I've done a good job of sharing these things with you and giving you an idea on how core aspects of the game like build crafting and loot have evolved. For me, gameplay always comes first, and Destiny's no exception. I've always loved the game because it's so much fun to make a build and overcome a challenge with it. Edge of Fate makes that the absolute priority. Instead of giving you an endless string of RNG to depend on that you have to sink your time into, the expansion gives you the chance to actually earn your loot. Yes, certain things are hard, and yes, certain things are really hard, but I think that's sick and exactly how it should be. What's the point if none of the content is challenging? What's the point if none of it is engaging or varied? What's the point in spending all day long farming things over and over, desperately trying to do content as fast as possible simply so you can get to the next role? Edge of Fate is all about actually playing the game. There's a great campaign to get through and experience the story and missions, and once complete, there's incentive to continue to play the missions on higher difficulty so you can get better gear and to explore the environment while you do so. There's dozens of options to play within the portal system that fits into any slot of time you might have, even if all you have is 10 minutes. No matter how you want to play, how long you want to play, or what you want to play, you're in full control. You can choose exactly how difficult you'd like the game to be and combine modifiers to spice things up. No matter what you choose, you can reliably earn rewards to level up, advance through tiers, and try new gear. The entire build crafting system in the game has been completely reworked, giving you the opportunity to update your old reliable builds or put together completely new ones. Armor finally matters, and synergizing every piece of your kit is more intuitive and effective than ever before. Every core system within the game has been refreshed, updated, or reworked, and it is so much fun to get to learn and experiment again. I am absolutely astounded by the quality and care that's been put into every inch of the Edge of Fate, and I'd like to thank and congratulate everyone that has worked on this expansion. To me, Edge of Fate is nothing short of a shining achievement, and shows that Bungie has a very clear vision for this new era of Destiny. They took a lot of risks, they made a bunch of fundamental changes, and in my opinion, everything has come out so much better for it. Not to mention, this is only the beginning. These are the foundations that Bungie had to lay in order to usher Destiny into a modern era for the game, and it'll only get better from here. I'm extremely excited for the future of Destiny, and I feel so lucky to have had the opportunity to experience and enjoy the Edge of Fate. Now, I've got some plans for making more content going forward, and I'll also be streaming every day at 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. So if you like the video, come by for a stream sometime or subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for more videos soon. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed the video.